Mute.
Okay, I'm recording to my laptop because her cloud is full. And I can't do Facebook unless I'm host.
Okay, well, I'll make you host. Just make me co-host.
Yes, ma'am.
Wendy Freeman.
Freeman family. I changed my name.
Host. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because we're about 7 minutes late, running behind. So I'm trying to keep this at 30 minutes, y'all. If y'all have any questions, though, stop and say, hey, wait, back up. I need to know more about that. So my name is Sherry Johnson. For those of you who don't know me, I am an aromatherapist certified. I am also a certified holistic emotions coach. So what that means is I help people release their emotions. So I am very much in tune with caregiving because I am a caregiver to my mother-in-law. She does live with me. And the trials and tribulations that come with caregiving, they're real. And we have things in place that are natural and holistic to help support the caregiver and the caregivee. So in this particular case, we're going to call the person that is being cared for the loved one. Okay. So there's two types of caregivers. There is a caregiver like myself, a family member or a close friend that is giving care to someone they love. Okay. There is another kind of caregiver, and that is somebody who has that as a job. We do have somebody named Judy, and Judy very much does this at her job. She is a caregiver. It's what she does. So things that I'm going to be going over tonight helps both people. Okay. Both kinds of caregivers. Now, I'm also going to be going over some things that helps the caregiver with the loved one. So those things, if you have questions about, you can put them in the chat. Maybe Wendy will be able to catch them. If not, we'll go over them at the end of the class. If you don't know how to put it in the chat, just unmute and blurt it out, and we'll deal with it right then. That's what I'm here for, is to help. So the first thing that I want to talk about is one of the products that we have that helps and that I use is the kids kit. If you are a caregiver, this is the one thing that you need in your possession, because this is a starter kit for anybody taking care of someone else plus themselves. Because one of the things that we need to know as a caregiver, and this was hard for me to figure out, you have to support yourself and care for yourself as much as you care for the person that you love. Sometimes that's very hard, but what happens is, if you have this little kit on hand, and it does come with these beautiful little cards. So this says it's for the kids, right? It's called the kids kit, but is for anybody that has certain issues. That's already diluted is what it is. And when you're older, you need to dilute because your skin is thinner. And you don't want to use an oil neat on thin skin because it could cause irritation. So you need to dilute it with what's called a carrier oil, like coconut oil or olive oil or almond oil. But with the kids kit, it's already pre-diluted. It's very easy. You have everything at your fingertips, and you have these wonderful, let me wait, Judy's coming in. This right here, she's the one that she knows a lot of stuff. So if I'm hoping Judy will interject on certain things if when I'm going over something and she has an idea too. So this is a note for caregivers right there. You see that? So this is called the kids kit, but it's really for caregivers too. And it talks about how to use these products, and it tells you about each product and how to use it, when to use it. I don't know if y'all can see that, but on each card, it shows the bottle and how to use it. So in this kids kit, we have Thinker. Thinker is my favorite one. I actually, just before the class started, I rubbed Thinker on my head, my temples, and the back of my neck. And the reason why is because Thinker is the one that helps if you have somebody who is in dementia or can't really get their thoughts together, severe ADHD or dyslexia, anything like that, Alzheimer's. This right here actually helps them to focus. So my father-in-law, not my father-in-law, my stepdad, I called him Daddy Pops. Okay. So he had Lewy body dementia, and it's a type of Parkinson's dementia. And when I'd go to visit him, I would actually rub Thinker on his forehead and the back of his neck and his chest and the bottom of his feet, because Thinker helped him to focus. It brought his brain back into to support the mind and be able to get his thoughts together. If he was in dementia, he would actually sometimes come out of dementia and he would be lucid, and we would actually have a conversation while I was there visiting. So Thinker is amazing. I use this for myself. I do have dyslexia, and this is one of the things that I reach for myself. Now, my mother-in-law, she doesn't have any dementia or Alzheimer's, but she has severe brain fog on certain days. She's 80, and some days she wakes up and she just can't really get her thoughts. And Thinker is one of the things I reach for, and I put it on the bottom of her feet and put her socks on, and I will rub her head and her chest and the back of her neck. Now, one thing that y'all need to remember, I am talking about doTERRA essential oils. I'm talking about these because these are certified pure therapeutic grade oils. They are the best oils on the market. I am a certified aromatherapist, and I really do know oils. These are the ones that you want to reach for because they are not diluted with chemicals or fillers. Okay, so you're going to get what you pay for. If you buy something that's inferior and put it on your skin or ingest it, then you could hurt yourself. So just be very mindful of, I'm talking about doTERRA essential oils tonight. So the next oil I'm going to talk about in this kit is called Calmer. Now, I love Calmer because Calmer I use this on my 3-year-old granddaughter before she goes to bed at night. But my mom used to use this on Tom, on my Daddy Pops, on the bottom of his feet and his chest. This is what would help his mind shut down and be able to give him that restful night's sleep. This prepared him for the first steps of going to bed. So, and you have a little in that kit, you have the little Calmer thing, and it tells you what it does, shows you the bottle. So you have the instructions in that kit. This is one of the best kits for beginners, for anybody who has children or anybody who has a loved one that they actually give care to, because it covers everything. If they have anxiety, that's braver, it helps them be brave. It helps calm down some anxiety. If they have digestion issues, that's tamer for the tummy digestion. It has something for everything in this kit. So this kit is a go-to, but I also utilize some other things because it doesn't do everything. So sometimes, certain issues come up. Let's say, they're in severe pain. When somebody's in severe pain, they tend to get very anxious and agitated. And one of the things that I use for that is adaptive. So adaptive comes in an oil form. This is the adaptive oil. You can actually apply that to the bottoms of the feet, the chest, and the neck. But my favorite way is the pills. Adaptive pills are, my family cannot live without these pills. We all take them. So that's what they look like. They're not very big. They go down very easy. They are made from essential oils, and they are amazing. What they do is, so at night, I'll take one adaptive and one copaiba pill together because adaptive helps me shut my mind off. Copaiba helps my pain issues. So those two together act almost like a Xanax. So what they're doing in essence is they are giving you the same calm state that a Xanax would without the side effects. You don't have tummy issues. You don't even know you're taking this stuff other than you are more relaxed. So for anxious feelings, adaptive is your friend. So for pain, I do make my own pain pills. They look like this. That's one of them right there. So I use gelatin veggie caps, or the plain capsules. I order them off of Amazon. You can also order them off from doTERRA. doTERRA has all vegetable glycerin caplets, and you just put your oils right in the capsule and then cap it up, and they work amazing. Blanche, that is my mother-in-law, the one that I care for, she can't be without those because she's very her hands are very arthritic and deformed. She can't open them up. She has drop feet in both feet. She also has Charcot-Marie tooth, which is a slow version of MS. So her muscles hurt, her joints hurt. She has a lot of issues. She has to walk with a walker. Her balance is off. She's been falling. So for her, the pain pill is one of the best ways for her to stay out of pain. So all I put in that is 4 drops each of frankincense. I use my frankincense. I use marjoram. This right here, marjoram is amazing, y'all. I did not realize how good it was for pain. It's amazing. Lemongrass. Lemongrass is also really good for people that have UTIs and things that anything with their kidneys and their urinary tract. Lemongrass is amazing for that. And I do, where's that? Copaiba. I must not put my copaiba over here, but I put copaiba, frankincense, marjoram, and lemongrass in my pain pills, and they work amazing. I also use deep blue rub, of course, and sometimes cypress needs to be added, not to the pill, because we don't eat cypress trees. We would not ingest cypress oil, but I will take cypress oil, put it in some lavender oil with Epsom salt. So I take a cup of Epsom salt, 4, 5, 6 drops of lavender, 4, 5, 6 drops of cypress, and sometimes I'll put some lemongrass in there too, because I just love the smell and it really does help. And you just put it in some water and soak in it for at least 20 minutes. 20 minutes is the key. If you need to soak at least 20 minutes, you will actually see your water turn like a it's not like a tea color, but it'll actually get a brown tint to it. It is pulling those toxins out. And what that's doing is it's helping your pain receptors to quiet. And then when you get out of the tub, if you take a pain pill and possibly even rub some deep blue rub in that area, then it will help that pain go away. Sleep. So do you have a question, or are you okay? Hang on, you got to unmute.
What was it that you put in that Epsom salt?
I used cypress oil and lavender, and sometimes I will put like I have a couple of different ones. I'll add like if it's my muscles, because my fibromyalgia, I'll actually put Aroma Touch. If I'm hurting, then I'll use sometimes copaiba in it. If it depends on what it is, and I also will use lemongrass sometimes because I love the smell of lemongrass and it really does help a lot.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wendy do have it in the chat, so if anybody need to refer to the chat to write it down.
I was going to ask how many drops of oil to say a cup of Epsom?
Oh, Epsom salt. I do probably 5 or 6 because I like mine strong. But you need to put it in the Epsom salt and then pour the Epsom salt into that running water, because if you put the oil right into the bath water, it's going to sit right on top. Remember, oils and water does not mix. You got to add it to that salt and it will actually dissolve into the water. The salt is the binder. So my 18-year-old son takes lavender and Aroma Touch Epsom salt baths like 3 or 4 times a week. He loves them. So now for an elderly person who cannot get in the bathtub, like my mother-in-law that I give care to, she cannot physically do that. She has a 0 point shower stall that she, rolls into and sits down. So for her, since she can't do the Epsom salt, what I do is I actually apply oils to the bottom of her feet, and I do what's called a foot soak without doing a foot soak, because when her legs are hanging, they turn purple. She has to keep them elevated, so she can't soak her feet into a basin either. So with her, I actually will take a washcloth and I put warm water on the washcloth and wrap her feet, okay, in that cloth. You can, if it's a man that has big feet, use a hand towel. If it's a woman, she has like kids' feet. They're like size 5 in a kid's shoe. So I can use a washcloth. So warm washcloth, and just let it soak on there for a few minutes, and maybe five minutes. Take it off and then add balance, especially first thing in the morning. Why balance? Because balance is our grounding blend. It helps them become aware of their feet, and it helps them to be able to deal with, let me see, I wrote it down here. It helps them it tunes them into their feet and grounds them as they stand up. So that's exactly what it does. And lemongrass first thing in the morning helps them to get awake and helps them to focus. So those are some of the things that you can do to, just to help them be able to not fall. And for yourself, because remember, the caregiver needs that support too. We need that balance. We need to be able to be grounded ourselves in order to offer them support. Because sometimes we're tugging and we're pulling and we're lifting and we're doing things that, we normally wouldn't be doing. And so our bodies need the support too. Otherwise, the caregiver becomes the person who needs the caregiving. Okay, so let's talk about digestion. Digestion, we do have a whole line of digestive I'm just looking to see about, yes. Okay, I have Digest Zen pills. I pass these out every night to me and my husband and my mother-in-law too. So she doesn't normally have a lot of digestion issues, but I try to make sure she gets one of these a day, just so that she stays on track, because she doesn't process meats very well. I make sure she keeps Terrazyme on hand. And when she does eat chicken or fish or something, she'll take a Terrazyme just to help her belly to digest that. That helps a lot for them, y'all, more so than you realize. One of the things I use also is I have a digestion roller. And what I do with it is I roll it on her belly. And especially sometimes she gets nauseous. And elderly tends to get nauseous and they don't even know why they're nauseous. Could be something they ate, could be something they drank, could be just their feelings of nauseousness. So with her, when she gets that way, I give her a peppermint soft gel and I use the Digestin in her belly button. And I even put it on the bottom of her feet, and it seems to help every time. So let's talk about, one point. When you do a foot soak and you put the balance on the bottom of the feet, make sure you add some tea tree to their toenails, because tea tree gets rid of that yellow on the toenails, and you can just keep it right there. You can just keep that, because all it takes is one little thing. Just take the bottle, do this, and then rub it on their toenail. That's it. Because you know how the big toes get thick and yellow? It keeps that from happening, or either if it is already there, it'll actually help decrease that. So it makes it easier for you when you have to cut their toenails. And for them, especially if they can't feel anything down there, she has 5% circulation in one of her legs and she can't feel her toenails. So she doesn't know if it's, how long or short it is, if it's cut, if it, whatever. She don't know if it's yellowing or not. She don't know if it's hurting her, but I can keep track of it and use the tea tree and help her not get that fungus. Okay, so we're going to talk about the urinary, your kidneys, okay? This is very important because especially if they have dementia or Alzheimer's, or if there is an issue with the mental faculties, sometimes they become incontinent because they can't function correctly, right? Their brain isn't working correctly. It's not their fault, it's the disease. So what happens is if you can support their kidneys, they have less accidents. Juniper berry is your friend here. Juniper berry actually helps the urinary tract function. So, and it helps keep from getting those infections in there. Also lemon, if you can get them to drink water and put a couple of drops of lemon in their water every single day, then they will not get kidney stones. You know how sedentary people, they do tend to develop kidney stones. You can avoid that with the lemon and the juniper berry, and you can ingest both of these. The lemon and the juniper berry can be ingested. You can also rub them right over the kidneys. I would like to talk about celery seed oil. I know everybody's like, what? So it helps the muscles and the joints. Celery seed is one of the underutilized oils out there. Look it up. If you have a book, see what it does for you. Celery seed oil is amazing. You can put it, you can ingest it. That's the best way, but you can even rub it on that muscle or that joint, and it will help a lot. This was new to me. Whenever I was doing research for this class, I was like, oh, I'm totally going to use this even for myself, because I have fibromyalgia. So celery seed, y'all, it actually supports the muscles and the joints. And of course, utilize your deep blue too. So I want to talk about guilt, because sometimes as we're giving care and someone else is receiving care, there's guilt feelings on both ends. You feel guilty because you get frustrated as the caregiver. You feel guilty. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't be frustrated. It's not their fault. They can't help this, and then we beat ourselves up over that. They have guilt feelings because they don't want to be a burden. They don't, I don't want to bother you. And then you get frustrated. You're not a bother. I love you. I'm doing this because I love you, So a lot of times the guilt that comes up when there is a situation where there is caregiving and caretaking, that the guilt can cause frustration. One of the best things that you can use for this guilt is bergamot. So bergamot actually, and I wrote this down when I looked this up, relieves feelings of despair, self-judgment, and low self-esteem. It invites individuals to see life with more optimism. And when you feel trapped to your house and they feel like they're in jail because they can't ever leave the house, you need some optimism in your life. So with bergamot, you can ingest this. You can add it to a pill form. You can roll it on. You can just put it on your chest, the bottom of your feet, the back of your neck. You can diffuse it in a diffuser. See this diffuser back here? Guess what it's got? Basil and adaptive in it. Basil is amazing. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I keep my diffuser going, especially if my 18-year-old comes home and he's a little hormonal and adaptive goes right in my diffuser and everything gets good. But now I will be putting bergamot in with it. So bergamot is amazing. And I do know that Felicia on here, she has swore by bergamot for years. She loves her bergamot. So that is one of the ones that she's told me that I underutilized. I will start using it from now on. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, we all feel overwhelmed. This is a normal feeling. You don't even have to be a caregiver to get overwhelmed. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, basil. Basil helps with symptoms of adrenal fatigue. Can you believe that? So anybody that actually has adrenal fatigue means it's overactive. And so you feel nervous and you feel like agitated and you feel like, you're just like, ugh. You need some basil in your life. I was shocked when I found this out about basil. So that's why I started using basil right here, because I have felt overwhelmed in the last few weeks. I have felt this, and I will tell y'all, I've been using it for 2 days now, and I don't feel overwhelmed anymore. I don't feel like I can't do this. Like I just have so much on my plate. I feel like, okay, I can do this. I'm good. I'm good. I've been doing this long. I got this. So if you're feeling adrenal fatigue, like if you're feeling overwhelmed, please put some basil in your life. Use it. You can eat it, of course, but basil can be a hot oil. Remember, our oils are very highly concentrated. So you can cook with this basil, but if you cook with it, you're going to want to dip a toothpick in the bottle and throw it in your sauce. The best way to use basil is to dilute it in a roller bottle like this and just roll it over your adrenal glands, or you can take it in a pill version. That's the best way to do it. So let's talk about the nervous system. So a lot of times, especially in the elderly, the nervous system has gone haywire. And sometimes it gets them where they can't even move. And let's just say for me, for instance, Blanche fell the other day. Well, it's been a couple months ago. And I just instantly ran down the hallway and reached down and tried to scoop her up, right? And y'all, she don't weigh that much, trust me. But for me, because I've had neck fusion surgery and I have spinal stenosis, it pulled my neck in a certain way, and I was down for 3 days. So if I would have had the pink pepper, if I would have known that pink pepper would have helped those nerve endings, I could have rubbed that and ingested that. The nervous system, pink pepper actually attaches to those nerves and helps quiet those nervous receptors. Pink pepper as a woman is super good for you. It even fights your breast cancer. It fights those cancerous cells that we all get. If you got breast, then you have those cells. Pink pepper fights that. So pink pepper is an amazing little oil. It comes from the fruit of the pink pepper tree. So, and I actually have been using pink pepper, and because of my spinal stenosis, I do have nerve endings that are damaged, and it's quite amazing what it has done for me. I was shocked, and I actually enjoy the smell of it. I've been diffusing it. I rub it on me, diluted, and I have been taking it in pill form. I added it to my On Guard pill that I take every day. So it was pretty good. So let's talk about the immunity system. So we know there's certain viruses, and especially flu season's around the corner. All of this stuff's coming up. If you want to build up their immunity, because family and friends are going to come over. I mean, right now we have a storm. I have 5 people headed to my house right now that live. They're my family. They're my brother-in-law and his wife and 3 boys. They're all teenage boys. Well, one's like 22, but they're on their way here because of the storm. Well, I have Blanche back here. That's her son coming to see her, but her immunity needs to be built up because I don't know what they've been exposed to. Not that they have, but if they have, I don't want her to get anything bad. So On Guard is her friend. On Guard, and I call it an infectious disease pill. And I use On Guard and lemongrass and oregano oil. Oregano oil, by the way, is a natural antibiotic. It's an amazing oil, and it does so much for the body. It's amazing what oregano oil will do. So all of those things are, you can just use On Guard oil. You don't have to make a pill. It actually comes in a pill. It comes in a pill version, but it also comes in the oil. And you can just take the oil, make a roller bottle, and roll it on the bottom of your feet, roll it on your chest, the back of your neck. And you can also take 2 drops. I have literally taken 2 drops in juice and drank it down. Just 2 drops and 4 ounces of juice and drink it down. And if I feel like I'm trying to get sick, I have been known to walk around with a bottle of On Guard on me all day. And every couple of hours, I put a couple drops right in my mouth under my tongue and swallow it down. It knocks it out every time. Every time. Okay, so I wanted to talk about both sides. So you have the caregiver who has her issues and their emotions, and you have the person being cared for who is going through the same thing. They have the same feelings that you're having because they don't like to be in the situation they're in. So one of the things that we tend to do is we get so wrapped up in giving the care, we forget that they need association too. So do we. But we're housebound. How are we supposed to get out? How are we supposed to go to lunch? How are we supposed to do something with someone? The best thing that you could do for you and the person that you're giving care for is invite people over at least once a month. Have somebody over and just tell them, you know, my situation is bad. The house isn't exactly clean. You know, I would love for you to come over and visit. We just need to laugh and chat and have a good visit. Even if you can't wrap your mind around making a meal and feeding them, we'll order takeout. Even if you can't even do that, just come over and have a glass of wine. You need that association. You need it just as much, if not worse than they need it. Don't forget to take care of yourself emotionally and physically. It's very important for you. So the spine, if you have somebody who is in chronic pain, like a Parkinson's patient, the spine is a vehicle for your oils. If you rub these oils up and down their spine, you're going to see a huge difference in them, because your spine is connected to every nerve and tendon, and your spine is everything, right? It is your support of your body. So when you rub those oils along your spine, you are getting, especially if you have children's spine in the bottom of their feet. Oh my goodness, you see a huge difference. Like my 3-year-old granddaughter, I rub that calmer at night when I want her to start winding down because it's almost bedtime. She takes her bath, gets out of the bath. I rub her spine and the bottom of her feet, put on her pajamas with some calmer, and she's good to go. And literally within 20 minutes, she's yawning and she's not like all crazy anymore. She's ready to start winding down for bed. So it really does work, and it works for the person you're giving care to also. Okay, my last thing, and then I'm gonna be done, y'all. The hands. So you're using your hands, you're grabbing, you're pulling, you're tugging, you're cleaning, you're gloving them up, you're washing them 20 times a day. Their hands get stiff because they're not using them as much, especially if they have arthritis or any kind of deteriorating disease. Their hands. Remember the hot towel I talked about on the bottom of the feet? So take a hot towel, hold it in their hands for about 5 to 10 minutes, just until it starts not getting so hot, right? And of course, remember their skin is thinner than yours, so don't make it too hot. But that's like doing a hot, warm water soak. When they're done, take some turmeric oil and rub it into their joints. Turmeric oil into their joints, the palm of their hand, the back of their hand, their wrist, and just give them a nice, and this is going to do 2 things. It's going to help your hands, but it's also going to help theirs. And you can do the same for you. Do the same, wrap your hands up in a nice warm towel and let it soak for about 5 minutes, and then put some turmeric oil on your hands and just work it into your joints. Just work it into your joints. It helps so much. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I don't know if y'all can see, but my fingers are all jacked up and crooked and just pitiful, right? So I have all these little knots, and I do rub turmeric oil into my areas, and it helps me so much. So that's a little, it's a little secret y'all could use to help with your hands. Okay, that's it. I hope that y'all have learned something tonight. Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Me?
Yes. Go ahead, Mary.
when you invite me over.
You want a hand massage, don't you?
I want that glass of wine.
Right?
I'm just kidding.
I like the way you think. We're gonna hook up. Mm-hmm.
Very good class, Sherry, though. I enjoyed it. I had definitely learned something.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm glad I was helpful because that was the whole goal here. I wanted to be able to help people who needed to know the things that they could support themselves and someone that they cared about naturally and holistically. That's why we do this. Wendy, do you want to stop the recording now?